Hi all, welcome to the crisis risk analysis implementation part. So my name is Jeffros. I will be driving you towards certain implementation areas what I have been involved in this full problems. So let me discuss regarding the dashboard. So to make it a bit more interactive, these are the slices and this is the timeline which would be telling that for the timeline it ranges from certain area to area. So if I am saying from 8 to 23, it gives us a default rate in this area and we can see a downfall after a longer years. So, in this manner, we can say that even medical and educational are coming into a risk, higher risk for these type of people where loan debts are getting increased and incomes are uh, pretty much lesser. Also, we can see that employee length groups 5 to 10 are having a higher risk for the mortgages, and while coming to lesser than 3 years, we can see a higher risk in the rents as these are the transitional people which need where they try to move out of the place for a longer period of time. So let me just keep it as it is. Now let me just play around with the slices to make it a bit more interactive. Now, if I am seeing here, we can see that there's a uh, home ownership. So home ownership means the type of ownership that people are involved to. So if I'm sticking either other, I can see that F is coming the highest, where G is not even existing here. A is coming the least, and in this way we can understand which all type of people are involved in what ownership and what. When I go into mortgages, you can see that 5 to 10 years and around 10 to 20 years are having the highest number of mortgages, where G's category is having also highest mortgages accounting to 1, where this need to be discarded, which means that there is a higher number of defaults, where lowest number of amounts are only sanctioned as loans for these kind of groups. So we can also see as a risky factor, educational and medical will come in all the areas. So this is how I have made it a bit. Okay. So let me just put 25 here. So when I put 25 also, we can see medical coming as a highest risk and home improvement coming as a highest risk, which means that most of the people are in a time of they are not involved with any job. They would be looking to stay in a place where they feel a bit more secure, and they might be staying where most of the financial will only go within their personal needs rather than going towards the certain educational loans which are pretty lesser. And we can also see that default rates try to decrease from 29 to 30, which means that there is a lesser risk at this time period. Usually within this time bound, risks are pretty much lesser, we can see. Also, we can see that greater than 40 years, 4.82%, which means that concessions are higher for them. And yes, and seeing towards this, we can see the default loan rate are only within the category of the people who are able to pay. So most of the underprivileged people who come under F and G are not under this category. So they are given more of a concessions and tax concessions in this year. So let me put 2 to 5. Here we can see most number of customers and higher is there for 2 with the credit risk. As it goes lower, we can see it there is a decline in this risk. Okay. Okay, so going to dashboard 2, this is also one of the interactive dashboards that I have given. So when I put lower risk, you can see that most of the people under this category who are sanctioned loan for the category of C, D, E, and F are having the lesser loans as they are having higher risk which are required to pay more than the defaults. So they will be only given lesser than the defaults. Coming to the average loan interest, we can see that all of these category people after D are having obligations to pay, which means that most of these people will be having lesser interest rates as they are paying is a bit more lesser. So as they are getting a lower loan amount, which means that lower interest are only imposed on these type of customers. Educational and personal and medical becomes highest in the lowest risk, which means that it is payable at some point of time. Now coming to the highest risk, we can see that uh, highest risk comes for the categories of EFG. Lowest risk comes for the category of ABC. Same is over here as well. We can see that loan interest rates go lesser for G, but loan interest rates are higher for many other people. F and G, not much difference between the default and the loan interest rate, which means that more of them have to be settled. Okay, so let me go to the questions which have been discussed. Okay. So here we can see that this is the question number two. So they were talking about the employee links here. So here they are talking about the home ownership, and higher ownership goes for the loan status zero, which means that most of the people are financially stable, and as the years increase for the employee length, we can see that most of the loans are being paid by the privileged sectors such as A, B, C, and underprivileged certain minorities are yet to be paid, where certain amendments or certain credit risk factors should be involved or introduced to to these areas, and high mobilization and high alarming signals should be given, where so these F and G should pay at a high at a much a moderately risky amount. Coming to solutions 3, we can see this I have been discussed medical and educational. So here I have used this type of clustered column chart, and here I have used uh, this is also a bar chart, and we can see that it's a advanced filtering is given here, where I have given 0 to 25, which tells that which type of category of a length is required to be put here. Now, if I go to solution 4, this is also have to be discussed. Here I have used a line chart to say which type of credit history of a length have been given, and the default rate has been given here as well. We can see that the default rate comes to around high. It becomes higher from 15 to 20 almost. Then from 20 to 26, we can also see a fluctuation of high lows, which means that it need to be taken care of. After certain period of the 20 late 20s, we can see of a length, we can see that there is a downfall where most of them might have settled within this time period. Also, we can see here adjusted default rate. So let me see my show my data sets this thing over here. So I have calculated the risk score based on this. So here I have taken the loan factor income into 30. Then these are my risk score by taking all these factors of loans, incomes, defaults, and employee factor. Taking risk category, when it's less than or equal to 0.55, we can say it's low. When it's less than or equal to 0.16, we can say it's medium, otherwise it's high. Loan to income, we can say that as the loan increases and which is more than the income, it means that higher value will be deployed, which means that uh, they are under a higher risk, and they have to give a higher amount as per the loans sanctioned. Default rate is based on the financial obligations. So as we know that the financial obligations are default equal to 1, which means that non-repayables. So non-repayables by the total number of uh, people who are under the loan status. So here, when we have adjusted the default rate, we can see that we have filtered, we have used this formula in order to say for this. So I have used the industrial simulation, selected this value, then I have calculated the default rate, filtered which is lesser than equal to selected interest rate, and based on this I have used this adjusted default. If you want to just see, just press 0.08, which will give you a decline at first, then an increase, then there's a stabilize after the 17th to the 30th. You can see a stabilizing. That is evident in most of the analysis. Yes. 17 to 30 interest rate gives a bit more stabilized manner. So as it increases in most of the cases. As it decreases in most of the cases. Most of the cases, it tries to decrease at first, then it increases. As it goes higher, we can see some areas will decrease more, and there's a stabilize after the 17 to 20. Okay. Now, if I want to show you one concept which is regarding the row level security. So over here I have press modeling, press manage roles. Here I have been equal to that consultation. So just give your column which is equal to that value, and it will give you what you want. And interest rate also you can do as per as you wish. And this is how I have given for each of them, and you can close it. If you want to do at once, you can just switch to a DAX format. So this is what it is. If I want to view as home improvement, I'll just press OK. Now it will give it as home improvement, where these are the sectors, and A is relatively less as its lower score, where G is predominantly more, as we can see 21.8 accounts for G, where the loan grade of a loan amount is pretty much higher, where they are obliged to give at a smaller interest rate. Higher interest rate, but smaller installments. Now, if I give grade A, this is what. So I can just stop reviewing. Now, this I have used. If I go here, visuals, slicer settings, you can use any of these options I have used between for this. For this slicer, I have used that tile option. So hope you have all understood what I have been using here. And lastly, I want to also show you regarding the interest rate. So interest rate has been just generated as a series. Okay. So yes. So this is the parameter value which is more required here. So thank you and have a nice day.